Disability Rights Advocacy Day, February 12, 2026.
Hi everybody, I'm David Ortiz, former state representative, first wheelchair user ever elected. Here at Disability Rights Advocacy Day, this is my fourth one. Love being here, great to see the faces, the advocates, engaging with their legislators. It's an amazing day, it matters, it's impactful, because ableism isolates and we need to expand disability rights.
Who's excited to be here? I need to hear that again. I need you guys to make sure you share your life stories with your legislators when you get your groups. I need to make sure that you are honest, fiercely honest, respectful, but fiercely honest about how inaccessible and ableist this world and this state can be. Because it's only through hearing your stories that humanizes the issue and that will move their vote, that will keep securing our rights.
So besides basic access getting better here at the state capitol, we are seeing that our voices are being listened to more, that we have a seat at the table now, that legislators realize that we are their constituents, that we do vote, that we do show up, and that all we're fighting for are basic rights. I mean, the ADA back in 1990 was a floor and a start, and so they're hearing that message, they're taking note, they're sponsoring and passing our bills, even legislators with no disabilities. They see that this work matters and it's important. It's because of days like this.
Thank you for making the time to talk with us.
Yeah, of course.
I have a 32-year-old daughter named Erin, and we live in Superior in Rock Creek. And I was looking through the bills that are being run, and I just wanted to ask you to support them on behalf of the disability community. But probably the one that sticks out the most to me is anything to do with housing. We've had to make so many changes to our home, and Erin has to live with us because trying to find homes for people that need what we call wraparound care, especially with accessibility. And on the market, even for builders, there aren't very many requirements, even for zero entry. I'm sorry if I'm using lingo. It's the housing bill for housing stability and reasonable accommodations, disability related, including assistance animals.
And this is Michelson. So Senator Michelson-Janae's, her last day is tomorrow. So
Okay.
Jack has been scrambling to find a new sponsor.
A new sponsor for the bill?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
We're going to be fine.
Okay.
We've got a couple of great ones. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that like I'm talking about my daughter specifically in our situation, but as we age and as she becomes a grown-up who's got to find housing, we just need more housing that's accommodated for people with disabilities and their specific needs. It's a pretty small percentage right now, if at all. So I just wanted to ask you to please support that.
I will support that.
Thank you. Fight like hell. Yeah.
And then I also wanted to thank you again for being the Senate sponsor for the nursing home transitions bill. We really appreciate your advocacy on that. Yeah, so that's one of our core services is the nursing home transitions. We're getting people out of institutional settings back into independent living because anyone you talk to and all the research out there shows that you have higher quality of life if you're living independently and have agency over your choice, and that's really what independent living is. So that's one of our core services, and it's a service that's covered by Medicaid. So what that means is there's a lot of approvals and working with your state and counties to facilitate that transition. So what's been happening for the past couple of years is when someone's been approved for the transition, they get back into independent living and work with our coordinator, and they'll get into independent living, but then they will have home and community-based services that they still need.
Is it independent living, or are they moving into host home or group home?
It's independent living. So we help coordinate housing and everything to make sure that they are set up at home. But sometimes people need a few additional at-home care things that fall under home and community-based services.
Okay.
Things that are like a care assistant or things like that, or a medical device.
Right.
And what's been happening due to issues within the system is there's been delays with getting those set up on day one. So we've had people that are in independent living for 7 to up to 75 days before those home and community-based services start. And that's been causing a lot of really dangerous and damaging impacts by not having those, because that's part of people's rights to have those cares, and they need to be set up from day one. So what this bill does is it helps address some of the systemic bottlenecks that have been preventing those services from starting on day one, and what we've been advocating for.
My name is Hillary Jorgensen. I am the co-executive director at the Colorado Cross Disability Coalition. This is a really important day. A lot of legislators and people making decisions about our lives sometimes have never met someone with a disability. They may not have someone with a disability in their life, so they may not have an understanding of what our lives are like and what our needs are. And it's really important that they see so many of us come together in this building to advocate for our needs every year. You should join us next year.
I'm Lieutenant Governor Diane Rivera, and I'm excited to be here for Disability Rights Advocacy Day. This will be my last Disability Rights Advocacy Day as Lieutenant Governor. But I'm grateful that the community has made this an annual event to celebrate your accomplishments, advocate for your priority issues, and build relationships with elected officials. Unfortunately, this year we're facing challenges, including significant federal headwinds. H.R. 1, in particular, has hit our state hard. Our administration is proposing the creation of a special purpose authority which will ensure that these vital funds are available long into the future for disability application assistance and new innovative ideas that improve quality of life for Coloradans with disabilities. In 2018, In 2018, Governor Polis and I ran on a platform of a Colorado for All, and your presence here today in the People's House helps ensure that people with disabilities continue to be included in that vision.
Everyone give it up for Senator Chris Colbert.
One of the bills that I'm doing today is a little bit about accountability. We had a special joint education committee hearing last spring. I'm the chair of the Senate Education Committee. And we brought in people from the Department of Ed, the U.S. Department of Ed, who've been recently let go. And we had them testify on the changes happening and what was the cuts that were happening and how they were going to impact us. And one of the things we learned about was the Office of Civil Rights and how it was being cut and how that impacts people with disabilities. People with disabilities in K-12 through the 504 program. If you're not familiar with the 504 program, it allows accommodations. It allows accommodations in schools for people who need them. It can be minor to extra time on testing to more specific accommodations into how we're making sure that kids are having access to their classrooms and to the buildings. When parents get these accommodations, when they do the 504 plan, and those 504 plans are being violated, maybe accidentally, maybe on purpose, when they're not being fulfilled at the school level, parents can go to the school, first of all, always recommend that, bring up the problem, how it needs to be adjusted, and if they're not getting a resolution, they could go to the Office of Civil Rights. But currently, the Office of Civil Rights has been decimated. Just looking for the number here, it's been cut. Staff have been terminated. 7 out of 12 Office of Civil Rights regional offices have closed in this country. Cases are not being heard. People are not being protected. So the bill that I'm bringing this year is to recreate the Office of Civil Rights at the Colorado Department of Education. So if the federal government's not going to do it, we're going to do it here in the state.
I'm Kyle Brown. I live in Boulder County. My district is Louisville, Lafayette, Superior, and then up into Mount Gun Barrel and Niwot. This year, I'm so happy to be able to run a bill related to host homes. House Bill 261147, which was introduced recently, is going to, I hope, to protect folks who live in host homes by making sure that these alternatives to larger facilities have greater safety and transparency and accountability. The bill will strengthen oversight and create clear reporting and complaint processes so that we can improve how host homes are monitored across the state. I think this bill really is about dignity and it's about trust. It's about making sure that everyone has the environment that they need to succeed.
Please welcome Representative Yara Zokai.
I have the privilege of representing House District 52 in Fort Collins. It is because of you that we were able to expand the Colorado Anti-Discrimination Act last year and make sure people have recourse when they face discrimination. It is because of you that we were able to extend the ABLE account tax deductions. And it is because of you that Rep. Clifford and I just advanced a bill out of the House that ensures that individuals with disabilities are not forced to choose between their housing and their service animals.
I'm carrying House Bill 1109. So this is ultimately aimed at providing better services for interpreters, but ultimately for consumers who need interpretive services. We want to do some research so that we put ourselves down a path of ASL licensure. And so, and like I said, that will basically just help lift up interpreters and improve quality for consumers all across the state. So thank you for being here to advocate on behalf of that bill.
She lives with an invisible disability herself, a chronic illness, and it's been so amazing to be on this journey with her. Please everyone give it up for Senator Angela.
A year after I went public with my epilepsy, I sat down next to him on the floor and I said, "David, do I have a disability?" And he said, "Yes, you have an invisible disability." And I was like, oh my God, I did not know this. But man, when he told me that and he used those words, I felt even more empowered to work with Cross Coalition, the Disabilities Coalition, and to make sure that we're advocating for people who do have invisible disabilities, who have physical and visible disabilities, because a lot of my colleagues don't. And when I'm advocating for seizure bills or for access bills, I want to make sure that I can say I'm a part of this community. And I can say thank you.
Everyone, please give it up for Representative Tony.
Thank you, Rip Ortiz, and I was thinking about that when I was writing some of my remarks, because I was the one pounding my fist on the table and saying that is not acceptable, because we should be advocating for the people who need to be advocated for. He shouldn't be having to advocate for himself all the time.
It should be up to us to advocate for another group. As a trans person, I also believe that we have to do that for trans people too.
This next individual that we have coming up, that we're lucky enough to be joined by, Molly Kirkham.
This is called what to call me. You ponder on what you should call me. It's a question that everyone faces at some point. You call me weird, you call me different, you call me special, but that is not my name. You call me slow, you call me lazy. You call me Elijah, still, that is not my name. You call me faulty, you call me broken, you call me damaged, that's not my name. You call me disabled, you call me challenged, you call me flawed, that is not my name. Just call me Molly. Thank you.
continue to organize, continue to get to know your elected leaders, continue supporting those that support us. That builds relationship, that gets our bills passed. We need to keep expanding our rights that way. To feel like when you first get here and you're the first of anything, it's hard not to feel alone. But then when community shows up, especially when you invite them, and when leadership gets to see community showing up with all kinds of visible and invisible disabilities, it's impactful, it matters. That's how we go from running 0 to 3 bills to running 15 plus bills to expand our rights. So it's really rewarding. It's amazing to see other leaders and advocates step up since I'm now happily retired. But it's an amazing event. Love being here for that.
CPWD's logo with the name Center for People with Disabilities below.